Hello there, podcast legends. How are ye? I have no idea where the accents come from. There's absolutely no reason for it. I don't know what I do sometimes. Anyway, I'm here, ready for episode 12. And let me tell you, this one is an absolute cracker. I know I say it every time, but this is genuine. Emotional eating, a huge topic that, to be honest, I'm aware of. I know it's a thing. I know it affects my clients. I know it's something I'd love to be able to help them with more. But I'm not the expert, and that's why I've reeled in a good friend, client and colleague, I'll call her now. We work together a lot with clients. Gill Harvey-Bush, the queen of the mind. She is that. She helps people rewire how they think, change their behaviours so they can move forward and live life a little better. I asked her the question about what is emotional eating, touch on how you can help yourself if you are someone who eats through emotion. Also, as parents, as we touched on later in the podcast, what we can do to help our kids, because a lot of these emotions come from when we're young and how we're bringing up our little ones. Loads of food for thought here after this podcast. I hope you come away with something knowledgeable that can change and improve your life. And I have to apologise as we go into this for the sound quality. I boo-booed for the first time, episode 12. We usually have microphones that pick up each individual voice. We are wearing them. If you're watching on YouTube, you see that me and Gill are wearing them. It's just as I got back to the lab and put the sound into the computer, it was horrendous. It was screechy, hummy. I couldn't let you listen to it like that. So we've got audio direct from the camera, filming the conversation. It's not the best, but I hope the content within it is good enough that you'll let me off. Thank you very much. Hope it helps. Gill,
Right.
thank you for coming to my podcast for the first time, I think.
Yes, first time I've done a podcast with you, Frank. I've done some Facebook Live with you, but first time for a podcast.
Yeah, well, of course, we've known each other for a long time, and maybe because it's your first time on the podcast, you probably should say who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm Gill Harvey-Bush, and I work as a coach in terms of a mindset coach, as opposed to the sort of coach that you are on the body. So I help people work out issues. I work with sports people, I work with executives, just a whole range of people. And I work on a joint programme called BEST with my co-coach, Janie Holiday, which is just for women at the moment.
Yes, and we can talk about BEST because it does tie into what we're going to talk about today. So I've pulled you in because you are an expert of the mind, that's what I call you. Pulled you in because you can answer this better than I can, far better.
Okay.
Something that's being called emotional eating.
Yep.
Right, my clients are being told it may be something they need to think about, maybe they are suffering with or going through. So please explain what emotional eating is.
Okay, emotional eating can take really two forms, so it covers a whole range of things, Frank, in that most people think emotional eating is where I can't stop eating. So I'll go for the chocolate, I'll go for the pizza, I'll go for the crisps, whatever it is, and I just emotionally eat. When I'm feeling down, I'll eat. When I'm feeling happy, I'll eat. But of course, there's the other side to emotional eating, which is things like anorexia, bulimia, binge and spit is another one that's around. So
I've not heard it. What's
binge and spit is actually where you just chew the food, so you get the taste of it and then you spit it out, basically. So, there's lots of different ones there. It's a form of what I would describe as self-medication, and it often happens or comes about from when we're really little. So we get trained by our parents without even realising subliminal messages are going in. So there's three sorts, really. There's comfort eating. So when I'm feeling a bit sad, and we hear about comfort food, don't we, in the winter? You'll hear the chefs talk about this is comfort food, a shepherd's pie or a roast or something like that. So there's the comfort eating that, yes, exactly what it says, it makes me feel happy and comfortable. Then we have the reward eating. And the reward eating is I've had a really tough day or I've done something really well. I'm going to reward myself for getting through. So I head for whatever the food of choice is, whether it's chocolate or crisps, because some are sweet, some are savoury. And then, of course, there's the treat aspect, which is I'm going to treat myself because I've had this, because I've had that. And it often happens when we're really small. you've got kids, you've got a couple of girls. I know it happened when I was little, that my grandmother, if I was really upset, would say, oh, come in, we'll put the kettle on and you can have a piece of cake. Or I hear it when I'm in the playground, parents saying to the children, well, if you come now, I'll treat you to an ice cream or a cake. Or so we start to make the connection between food and the feeling that it gives us. And that's then when we get into this pattern of the food as the go-to thing, to comfort me, to reward me, to treat me. So emotional eating on that side. And then, of course, there's the other side, which is the anorexia, the bulimia, which says, actually, I think about food and it's the only thing I can control in my life. And I need to control every bit of it. So all I do is think about food. So it's interesting that people who are on diets, when you ask them about it, what's the first thing they think about in the morning when they get up? It's food. And what do they think about all day? It's food. You did the intermittent fasting, didn't you, recently? And what thing did you and what's the one thing you thought about? I know I saw and we discussed.
Yeah.
And what's the one thing you thought about all day?
Food. It was and when you said about the control, you're saying it's a control.
Yes.
So for me, it was like that, having the control taken away, I guess, actually was what happened to me. I didn't like the fact that I was
being controlled.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the freedom of food, and I understand from my perspective, that's how I live, and I'm happy like that. But I know that not everybody feels that way. And you're saying the common things that could occur in other people's minds who aren't happy and comfortable with food and don't think about it all day.
Yes.
They could be doing it for comfort, doing it for
we do it for a treat, a reward.
Or doing it for control.
Yeah, yeah.
As you were saying all that stuff, I'm like, thinking about what I'm saying to the girls now.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful. It's that I was brought up, for example, of you've got to finish everything on your plate before you can have dessert. So here's your main course. You have to eat all of that before you can have a dessert. Well, I'm a sweet person, sweet tooth person. So I wanted the dessert. So that would be my reward for eating everything on my plate. And of course, even if I wasn't hungry, I'd continue to eat everything because I wanted the reward of the dessert afterwards. I learnt when I started training in this, I learnt that actually I was doing the same to Jackson, my son. I'd be saying, no, you've got to eat everything on your plate before you can have anything else. And what I realised was that I was forcing him to overeat. And in fact, giving him too much food. So by just taking off, a potato or whatever happened to be on the plate, by reducing his portion size, of course he would eat everything on the plate and then he could have a dessert. So I stopped using the words, I'll treat you to, or you can have this. If you're a good boy, you can have this as a reward. So I was very careful then about what I said to him in terms of connections to food, because it's called an anchor. In neuro-linguistic programming terms, or NLP, we create anchors. So when I have this food, this is how it makes me feel. Okay, it's listening to...
And most of this is going in when we're young.
Yes, this starts to go in when we're young. And then if we're controlled in terms of weight when we're young by our parents, so we have the very controlling parents who you can't have this, you can't have that, it sometimes then makes the need to have it even greater. It's like, because I can't have it, I want to have chocolate. I've seen some children who aren't allowed sweets and chocolate at home. Consequently, when they go to somebody's house or they're out and about, they'll do it secretly. And that's then when you get the secret eating come in as you grow up. You'll hear people who say, I don't know why I'm so overweight, when they're out, because they'll just have a little salad. But of course, they then secretly, and often it sounds ridiculous, but unconsciously, as soon as they go home, they're into the fridge, nibbling whatever they can. Or there is the side of things that a lot of people can snack all day, but they've been brought up, unless I have a meat and two veg, i.e. a proper meal, then I've not really eaten. So they'll snack all day, but then go home and must have dinner. I think you were a great example when you were doing the intermittent fasting, that normally you really don't think about food that much. You just eat when you're hungry and it doesn't become all consuming for you.
I don't think about food, and then all of a sudden I'm forced into this diet mode, and that for me was like, it's not normal. I don't like this.
Yes, because you were having, and then you found you were doing nothing but thinking about food. So it's really interesting, and then people are obsessed about weighing. I know that one of the comments was about scales, wasn't it? What do you think about?
Yeah.
I personally threw my scales away because it can make or break your day, and then that sets up the whole cycle of I've got on the scales. Oh, I've put on, I'm old-fashioned, so I've put on a pound or I've put on 500 grams because people nowadays can buy the scales that give it down to the nth degree. So I feel terrible, so I go all day punishing myself. And then I'm so desperate at the end of the day and I've done really well, I'll go and reward myself and have a treat. So the mind is incredible in terms of how I view food.
What you said there is brilliant, right? I feel like there's two parts to this now I want to resolve while I'm here with you.
Okay.
I understand that emotional eating is to do with anchors and it's probably built up from when we're young.
Yep.
I don't quite know why I'm comfortable and happy with food and others aren't. I can't differentiate that yet.
Yeah.
What I did in my junior years that's different to others, I don't know. But I would like to, as a parent who's bringing up two daughters now, and the stuff you're saying, I'm like, oh, I do that. Yeah, I do that. I want to bring an awareness to maybe what you think as a parent I could do differently to help them sort of lower the risk of having these issues of emotional eating later on in life. And then we've got the issue of what I came here for really was the emotional eating side for people now who are aware that, okay, that's me. Yeah, I do reward myself.
Yeah. How
can I solve that?
Okay.
So can we do that? Can we do each part and do your best solution in the quickest time possible?
Okay, in terms of the people who are overeating, it's about raising your conscious awareness so that you go, actually, am I eating this because I'm hungry and starting to know what the hunger signs are, or am I eating this because of a certain emotion? I can give an example. When we were running on the BEST programme, one lady asked exactly that. How do I know whether I'm having a pizza or an emotional pizza? So we made a bit of a joke about, is it an emotional pizza? And that is actually, if I'm having the pizza or the ice cream or the chocolate because I've had a terrible day, or because I think I've had a good day and I'm going to reward myself, that's the triggers that you start to look for. Okay, is there an emotion that's driving this? I mean, I eat chocolate, but I don't go, oh, I've had a terrible day, I've got to go and have a piece of chocolate. I eat chocolate because occasionally I go, do you know what, I just fancy a square of chocolate. And it's therefore I'm not setting up a guilt cycle as well. That's the other thing that happens. So somebody will then go, well, I've eaten that piece of cake, so I might as well have X, Y, and Z. So first tip would say, ask yourself, am I eating this because of an emotion that I've been feeling today? I've had a tough day, I'm going food to reward myself.
Right.
So be aware of that. So
a comfort as well?
Yes, or a comfort. Or I'm feeling really unhappy today, I want something to make myself feel better. So I go for food. So my go-to thing is food to make me feel better. Some people it will be wine, other people it will be...
Got it, an awareness that it's happening.
But it's an awareness that there is an emotion that's driving me to do this. There is a need that's driving me to do this. Rather than, do you know what, it's tea time, I'm hungry, I'm going to have something to eat.
And then what would be the next step?
Go and have a glass of water, because a lot of people have lost that hunger cue. They don't know the difference now between am I hungry or am I not. Hunger comes on really slowly. It's not something that I have to go and have food. That's another tip, that it can be emotional, that you're sitting at your desk at work, something has happened, and you suddenly think, I need to go and get something. Actually, hunger comes on really slowly. It's that one that says I'm a bit peckish and, oh no, now my stomach's rumbling. That's how you start to differentiate between hunger.
So maybe find another activity at that moment?
Yes, at that moment.
That's what I'll be egging someone to do.
Yes, Go find something else to do. Go and have a glass of water at that moment.
Yeah.
Go do your boot camp.
Go and do a fit with Frank workout. Exactly. But
Go
that's
and
it,
do
though,
a
isn't it?
workout.
You're becoming aware that it's happening. Okay.
Yes.
I'm always reaching for the biscuit tin at this point in my life. I've had a bad day, the kids have been a nightmare, or work's been tough.
That's exactly it.
When that happens next time, I'm going to go for a walk instead.
Yes, I'm going to do something different.
See what happens. See if that biscuit tin is as attractive when I come back.
Yes.
That's a strong tip to give straight away, isn't it?
Yes.
But the best we can hope for someone listening to this is they listen to what you've said about the comfort, reward.
Comfort, reward or treat.
They're aware that, oh, cool, that is me. And then they start to start looking at the days and weeks as they go by and start identifying these certain scenarios, come up with a different plan, see if that helps. But there are people like yourself, plan if you want, but best program is perfect at helping you through that. You can untrain that or retrain that.
Yeah, you can learn a different behaviour. It is just a behaviour. Okay, it's a behaviour that has been learned or has been taught. And that's the good news, is that you can learn a different behaviour, so that food doesn't become this all literally kind of thing that I think about all day, or chocolate doesn't become this thing that I think about all day. Yes.
Now the parent question, this is looking back. You can't go and change the past.
No,
I can't change what happened to me when I was young, but I can change how my girls are growing up. And I constantly think about it. And when you say little nuggets, I'm always like, oh, I need to think about that. There's a whirlwind of like different decisions you're making for the kids, and you never get it perfect.
Correct.
But when you're saying about these treats and rewards, and we do use them, I definitely use them, because you just want the kids to behave sometimes. So you might use a.
So do you see how you use food?
Yeah, why though?
A lot of people will use food.
It's cheaper than toys, I think. That's why I've done. Toys are a bit expensive, Jill.
Yeah, but there's other ways in which you can do it. It's about we'll go out on your scooters, or we'll go and or we'll sit and read a book, or we'll play a game, or I'll give you some of my time. And I think that's where the other thing is, a lot of parents have got to be aware that 5 minutes off social media but spent with my children as a reward is actually all they need. But it's quicker, isn't it, to say, we'll give you this, or we'll give you, the chocolate, packet of crisps, whatever.
Yeah, it's stemmed originally because they do like veggies, actually, my girls. They're quite good at eating that stuff.
Great.
And I'm not one to force it upon them. You put it in front of them and hope they like a bit of it, and they do.
Yeah.
But occasionally when they just don't eat any of the bulk, you sort of feel like, oh, I really want you to eat that. And that is my problem, isn't it? Not theirs.
Yes, that's your issue.
Yeah.
That's your issue, not their issue. So it's about making sure that as parents we don't put our issues onto our children.
Got it. And the best way I can summarise that is if we can get ourselves in a good place.
Correct.
Around emotional food and eating and being comfortable, as I am fortunate to be at that. Yes. Hopefully your actions and the subliminal messages you're passing on will be of the right, and then I don't have to worry. I'm kind of normalising it in my head like that and saying, if I can just keep myself happy and healthy and emotionally sound,
then your girls will pick that up.
They'll pick that up.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about the little bits of, maybe I'll just clean up the fact I'm using chocolate buttons to treat the child to eat their broccoli. I'll get over that, right? Forget it. She won't eat broccoli on a Tuesday.
Exactly.
She might eat it Wednesday. Everyone's happy.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
It's literally, it's to do with the mindset, and it's about changing your thoughts and realising where those thoughts have come from, maybe from childhood. So first tip is look back and go, was I rewarded and treated when I was little?
So final thoughts for that, let's say, mother at home, because we've touched on that here today, who is aware today now that she's got some issues around emotional eating. What would you say to her to do from now? What would you say to encourage her? Well,
one, that she's suddenly aware. Once you've got awareness, if you don't know you're doing something, then you don't know how to put it right. But if this has helped somebody have the awareness that I am emotional eating and I recognise some of these here, then that allows you to start to be able to do something about it. To promote on this side, Janie and I have done, because obviously working with women, it becomes a huge issue with each BEST programme that we've that we run, which is online. It's an online program. People can get it through my website, which is just my name. We also have done a specific download emotional eating course, which helps people work out, I can learn how to look for the triggers. I can see what the habits are. I can raise my awareness and the things that I can do to change it differently. So the mere fact that somebody has gone, oh, yes, that's me, means that they can now do something about it. And obviously I'm always happy to answer any questions.
Got it, I know you are. You're fantastic on that. But I will put all the links to Best and what we do in and around this, wherever you're listening, watching or reading this. It'll be there.
Great.
But I think for today I'm going to pause. There's still
lovely. Thank you very much for having me, Frank.
Bazillion questions. Every time I talk to you. So irritating.
No, if that's just given a brief outline, then it's been a pleasure. And if it helps just one person, then it's been worth it.
Beautiful. It's been emotional.
I better go and get something to eat now then.
See you later. Reward yourself.
You've been listening to the Fit with Frank podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now so you can be first to be notified of new episodes released every week, where Frank dives deep, chats with some of the finest guests across the health and fitness industry, alongside inspiring stories from people just like you, so we can inspire and hopefully empower you to lead a happier, healthier lifestyle. Have fun.